Oh, that's my favorite break song. We were just vibing here. It's a jam. Welcome back, everyone, to the State Farm Analyst Desk. It is finally time for our LCS representatives, Cloud9, to take the stage here in the Rumble. So excited to see them climb new heights after they completely turned around their group stage last week, and it started off badly, but it ended phenomenally with a 3-0 in the second.
Yeah, and taking down Damwon Kia especially too. I thought the evolution, the growth, the turnaround we saw from both Fudge and Blabber in particular was the major turning point for C9. They showed up on the day, but now the question is, can they continue it over the course of 5 days and maintain that level of excellence?
Yeah, Dagda, do you agree that it seems like C9 has flipped the switch, and will we see a strong performance from them here in the Rumble stage?
Yeah, I really hope that we do get to see big performance, especially coming through from Fudge and Blabber in that top side of the map. I think that these have been the two big turnarounds from that first kind of foray where it didn't really work out. And I really want to see if Fudge again on picks like this Lee Sin can get control on that top side against Xiaohu, and if Blabber can try and keep Wei under control. He's been such an important part of Cloud9 and keeping tempo on the map. And if he can get this advantage over Wei, maybe they can stop RNG from snowballing the game.
Yeah, and a read on C9, of course, we're looking at Fudge and Blabber because they had a suboptimal start, but the bot lane and the mid lane got off to a great start from the beginning, and now everything seems to be online. And we talk mid lane, and we talk this matchup versus RNG, we need to talk about Perkz, and of course, the stopping of the Golden Road in 2018, now a new configuration of RNG. But Dagda, this man is someone to look out for the side of RNG. He has been smurfing it up all MSI so far.
I'm having a little bit of lag on my end. I haven't been able to quite pick it up, but I can see Perkz on my screen. I think Perkz has been absolutely phenomenal. When we talk about like his damage percent that's coming out, you can see it there, 34% of the team's damage. He's been bringing out some crazy picks like we look towards like the Yone. He's brought out some really cool picks, and I'm excited to see what he can do here, specifically against Cryin as well, because honestly, when we look at RNG, Cryin has definitely been one of the weaker points. So if Perkz can get that power there, maybe we can see himself and Blabber take over this game.
And excellence should be the expectation for Perkz. A guy that's been to the international stage so many times in a row has always looked so good. And it's even the expectation of other teams. Like you heard earlier today, Xiaohu saying, you better be ready, you know, we're coming after you guys. So the other team, the players on the other side are certainly ready to face him down as well.
That they are. And now we have a situation where two teams face off versus each other who have each taken down Damwon. So, you know, they can look each other square in the eye and say, all right, you can take me on now. But let's look at the different strategies that we saw and see how this can apply to this match. Cloud9, they targeted Khan in that matchup versus Damwon. Are they going to do a similar thing here to take down RNG? Is that the right way to go?
They might, because Xiaohu is looking like the strongest player on RNG right now, but I honestly don't even want them to. I think that you actually look at this matchup stylistically and try to switch things around just a little bit. Because Perkz has been so strong for C9, I would actually love to see them target Cryin in the mid lane, a potential weak point of RNG's, and use multiple members of pressure to get into mid lane, put Perkz on something more aggressive, more early game dominant, not just the scaling of the Victor, and then allow his early pressure to transition into top or bot.
I see Dagda spamming question mark pings because he has a bit of lag, so I'm just going to like relay a question to him and hope he can pick it up. Where do you think RNG is going to focus their attention this match?
Yeah, I definitely think that for RNG, I think they've kind of shown that they've got two sleeves, right? They're not just a one-trick team. They've got a second trick up their sleeve as well, where they can play down towards that bottom side. But I certainly think this time around, we will see them focus towards Xiaohu in the top lane. I think they were kind of testing the waters a little bit against Damwon to see if the bot lane play could function in the same way we saw against FPX. I think they'll go back to O-Tricks this time, try and punish through Fudge, through Blabber, and see if they can do what Damwon did to C9 on day one, which was just exploit Fudge and then take over that top side of the map from there.
Final note, of course, for C9, it would be absolutely huge. They started off slowly. Everyone was losing hope immediately, but then they turn it around, and now they find themselves in the Rumble stage where it all really begins.
And look, C9 also had a very different read on the meta than other teams on that final day, so that's potentially the biggest change-up to throw RNG's way is, does the Rumble priority still go down? Are we still seeing the Lee Sin be the #1 pick for them and for Fudge, especially against Xiaohu? I'm excited to see what they've got up their sleeves.
Super interesting focal point. We'll see if Cloud9 can take down yet another international juggernaut as we send it over to our casters. Drakos and Kadra, let's go.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Ender, that was
Thank
sweet.
you, Ender, for your. Thank you, Evie, of course, for your incredibly enthusiastic toss. It is an absolute pleasure to be here. I'm Dracos. That's Kadril, in case you missed the memo. And we're getting ready for the final 3 games of the day, kicking off with RNG versus C9, a historic matchup between the orgs, between the players. There's a lot of history here, and we're going to talk about it when we get into game. But for now, the meta has been changing. It's been evolving since the start of this tournament. So we're going to stay dead set and focused on picks and bans.
Yeah, and I think a big question the analyst desk had, especially Ender, was will we see this Lee Sin first pick priority again from Cloud9, or this first rotation priority from Cloud9? Another thing that Perkz sent into is Udyr. They realized it later in the tournament that this champ is so OP, and they don't want to let that go through. So the Gnar banned away from Xiaohu already. We'll see if they want to ban away things like the Lee Sin, the Udyr, the Rumble, the Morgana. There's a lot of questions about what the actual meta picks are right now. Different teams have different prios, and we'll see what RNG and C9 want to do. So Gnar and Varus taken on the table from Cloud9, the Renekton taken away along with the Senna on the side of RNG.
And I imagine Varus will continue to be a pretty high priority ban against RNG, and in general just LPL teams. I think always one of the regions that's the best at leveraging Varus and his incredible power in the lane phase. That said, mostly standard bans from what we've seen so far. Interestingly though, the AP junglers look to be up and available. Now if Cloud9 ban one here, RNG will most likely get the other. That said, the Udyr coming out so far in the tournament has looked to be able to contest those otherwise top 2.
Yeah, Udyr's look like a pretty strong champion, but all the junglers are up, so it wouldn't make sense to ban one. 3 junglers are up, putting a ban on jungle, you're still going to trade. So they ban away the Nautilus from Ming, and we'll see what RNG want to prioritize here. Is it going to be Rumble? Is it going to be Morgana? Udyr? We've got Lee Sin available as well. The Lee Sin first pick could be really good for Xiaohu. Deny it from Fudge, and you still get the stronger jungler or a trade-off, but no, Udyr first pick. It looks like RNG think that is the strongest jungler on the patch.
Definitely a solid option. The question is, do C9 immediately opt to go for a Lee Sin for Fudge alongside the Morgana for Blabber? Are they believers in the Rumble jungle? Obviously, some discussion as to how good it was based on the win rate we saw in the groups.
You have a lot of things open here for C9. You have the Lucian for Perkz. Tristana's open as well. The flex between mid and AD carry. The Lee Sin is open. The jungle option is there for Rumble Morgana, which you could pick on 3 anyway and just secure those double AD solo laners.
And I love that. Kadril, I gotta say, with 2 AP junglers left up and available, even if there's some crazy pick where they want to take one away, they're not going to take both in this next rotation. So taking the Tristana, that does, however, mean that you are willing to give up the Lucian in the mid lane on the opposite side.
Yeah, we'll see if RNG want to opt into that. Of course, the Lucian for RNG most likely going towards the top side of the map for Xiaohu. You'd expect. And the Nautilus being taken away, targeting Ming. He's played Nautilus a lot throughout the tournament, 5 games on it. RNG still undefeated in MSI. Kai'Sa Nautilus, a very famous kind of first rotation AD support when you can get it, but there's the Lucian for RNG. You expect that to go towards the top side. And now do they want to round it out with the Kai'Sa, which we just touched on?
And the Kai'Sa, as you said, the most popular AD carry so far in the tournament alongside Nautilus, usually paired together. As mentioned already, the Nautilus has now been banned away, so we'll keep our eyes on which support pairing they want to opt for. Keep in mind, until we see another AD threat, the Tristana does still function as that flex pick. Still some information on both sides.
Oh, taunting them with the LeBlanc Perkz. 2018, you would remember it, picked it in Game 5 and took down RNG. I think he's taunting him there, but that's going to be the Morgana pickup.
I like it and well predicted. I think so far really excellent use of the first phase coming out here from Cloud9, getting them their hands on 2 incredibly powerful champions in the meta, 3 overall, just by leaving the AP jungle pool open. That said, RNG certainly have some comfort picks of their own, and the idea of Xiaohu with Lucian on the top side is a bit terrifying,
yeah,
especially when he can double ban out top if he really wants to set up for success here. Or except the Lee Sin's already locked in, excuse me.
The Lee Sin is expected to go top into that Lucian, so that's a very volatile matchup already. Udyr versus Morgana, you'd expect. And then Tristana is almost like a question mark, right? It can go into the bot side against the Kai'Sa if you get an engaged support, or it alternatively could go mid for Perkz. I'm guessing they're going to save that till last pick. We're probably going to see a support pick on 4, you'd expect. That's why we see Leona banning away, Alistar banned away, Thresh. Lots of supports are being banned away here. We'll have to see what Vulcan and Ming want to opt in for. There's still things like the Tahm Kench open, but that's more of a defensive option.
Certainly is. And obviously a lot of time to be taken here. Both teams banning away. Looks like we're going to have Quadra ban potentially on supports heading into this next phase. Makes a lot of sense. The question is how deep do both these teams want to dig? Engaged supports have been the name of the game for what feels like 2 years now. Is this going to be a moment perhaps with so many primary supports now banned away that we see someone dig into the Enchanter pool, things like Lulu up and available?
Yeah, there's 5 engaged supports banned and a Thresh. So the only real options you have left for engage are things like the Rel or things like the Braum, you know, so if they want to go into those melee supports, I don't blame them. I think the Braum would be more favored into the Rel, and I think RNG would be happy to take that trade perhaps, unless they have an Enchanter up their sleeve into the Rel. Something like a Janna is something that we historically saw in the LEC especially, but it didn't really rise to prevalence. It only happened once or twice, and then people kind of realize we're lacking engage on support, and RNG is also lacking engage on support right now. So some kind of engage is definitely what they need, and they're keeping that Tristana flex until last pick, making sure Perkz can get a counter in mid or putting it into bot with Vulcan.
Trying to get as much information as humanly possible. Gragas now locked in. That could be very much Xiaohu Gragas topside. I saw it in game 1. While the result was successful, you did see some, I think, small moments of questionable play from Xiaohu. I would love to see him on the Lucian personally, but it could also be a support.
Yeah, I think that Gragas most likely going towards the support role for Ming into the Rel, and that Lucian is going towards the top side. So we'll have to see what Cryin wants to blind pick mid. Something safe is always the best option, and Orianna is probably the best option they have here. It's the best blind pick available, and now Perkz has the option. Does he want to go for a Tristana mid, or does he want to go for something like a Victor, just to match mid lane, get a little bit more AP damage to help your team, which I think has a lot of good scaling on it with the Tristana Morgana, and it could be rounded out a lot more with a mage in the mid lane. There's not many AD options open, really. Varus taken away. Could go for something like a...
Oh!
That's a Malphite last pick.
That's because that Malphite's going top into the hands of Fudge. Lee Sin mid for Perkz. There will be blood in this mid lane. It might not be Xiaohu playing there anymore, but Perkz still playing like a man out on a vengeance. Now Fudge getting the Malphite locked in topside. It's going to be, I think, a quiet topside game for Fudge, but I like the adaptation for Cloud9. They say, hey, you stepped up. We know you can carry individually, but now, this game, you're going to take a back seat. You're going to be that value in the team fights.
Yeah, we were talking about engage, and I was so tunnel visioned on this Lee Sin going top for Fudge because he had such a good display on it that I'd forgotten that Perkz has been spamming Lee Sin in solo queue. So that Lee Sin's going to go mid into the Orianna, and they're going to match the Lucian top with a Malphite. So C9, lots of team fighting. A little bit of side lane with the Lee Sin, but that's just pure team fighting. You've got there lots of engage, lots of range damage from the Tristana with the Black Shield. Whereas on the side of RNG, you have a 1-4 comp, right? You have the Lucian on the side lane who needs to win out and then collapse to the fights before the Malphite and force him to TP in, which opens up windows when the TP's down that you can be the ones engaging the fight. But lack of engage on RNG, I must say, but C9 can pull the trigger whenever they want.
Absolutely can. I love to see it. Love to see one team be able to dictate the pace. How will RNG respond? Team fighting excellence has often been the story for RNG in the mid to late game. Can they make it happen one more time this matchup versus Cloud9? RNG already coming out swinging, taking down Damwon, already cementing themselves as one of the top teams in the group just with that victory. Winning here over Cloud9 would make it feel almost like a certainty, even only on day 1 of the tournament, that this team is making it to the knockout stage. So big stakes on the line here for both sides as we get ready for the first game for Cloud9 in the Rumble stage.
And here we go, getting into game. Cloud9 versus RNG and Perkz versus RNG. A lot of history here in this game.
You already talked about it, Cadriel. The LeBlanc Game 5, it was iconic. It felt like just a massive individual solo carry performance. Keep in mind, Perkz isn't playing against Xiaohu this time. Xiaohu has role swapped. Of course, if you've been following MSI, you know that. But if you're just tuning in, Xiaohu up into the top lane, Cryin in the mid lane. Potentially looking for a bit of revenge for his top laner as we look back on that one. I think as an EU fan fondly, but I cannot imagine the LPL are pleased to play up against Perkz in the mid lane.
Yeah, and Xiaohu, Perkz, there's a lot of international success and a lot of international experience here between these players. Xiaohu has been appearing at so many different international events alongside Perkz, facing up against each other so many times, and now they get to face up against each other once again. As you can see on your screen here, Xiaohu, 4 Worlds appearances. This is his 3rd MSI appearance, and he has an MSI title. And then Perkz on the other side has Worlds Finals appearances. He has an MSI title as well, so a lot of experience coming up against each other.
Yeah, comparable amount of experience overall. Of course, you can join in on the action. Send us your tweets using Verizon 5G All Chat for the chance to be featured on broadcast. And do it quickly, because I don't know how much time we're going to have to talk in this game, Cadriel. I'm ready for something quite explosive.
Yeah, definitely. And level 1 looked somewhat explosive there. RNG warding Blabber's red buff, him basing for the sweeper, not finding the ward. And he's going to do 2 camps at the same time here. I remember he was doing something similar last time and it didn't work out. Now he looks like he's going to be able to execute it properly. Life-stealing off the Raptors while doing the red buff means that he'll stay healthier HP, but RNG will know where he started off. He does manage to do them both at the same time. Really good execution there from Blabber. And that does mean he's probably going to go towards the Krugs and then path towards the bot side. Wei doing something very, very similar, where he's also doing a full clear on his red side, and he's moving towards the top side of the map to cover Xiaohu on this Malphite, where I think Blabber should path away from this. He's not going to have any prio. I expect Fudge to probably get Dove level 3, level 4 perhaps, and he just be weak side until that level 6 when he can start contesting top side alongside Blabber. Bot lane is going to be the focus for Blabber in the game though.
Makes a lot of sense, too. We've seen how explosive both of these bottom lanes can be. It felt like in the first stage of MSI that Sven and Vulcan were the strong point in the laning phase. When Blabber and Fudge were struggling to find their form, they were always consistent, always winning out, even in matches where they weren't necessarily the favorites heading in, looking back towards that first Damwon game.
Yeah, and Ming almost like the unsung hero MVP of RNG against Vulcan, who kind of clutched their win against Damwon with that Hex Flash and Alistar, winning them the team fight. Two really stapled supports, very good at engages, very good at roams, and they're on two champions that are definitely going to be looking at those kind of playstyles.
Absolutely something we have to watch, and of course now Blabber is going to be looking for ganks, or if it's just a full clear. And here, Cajal, as predicted, a lot of pressure onto Fudge.
It's like a dove.
Only level 2. This is absolutely brutal. Who's going to take tower aggro first? Wei jumping forward with Bear Stance. A little Q to try to dash out, but the extra little dash from Bear Stance is going to do it. Xiaohu tanks the aggro, and it's flawless from RNG.
Yeah, really expected play. I think C9 probably knew that this was coming as well when jungle passed topside. There's not really much Blabber can do. Yes, he can defend the dive, but there's not much value he gets out of himself because he can't contest top camps, and RNG just punishing this such a hard winning lane that they've drafted into. C9 opting for the Malphite matchup, which will be useful in the team fights, but this is what's going to happen in the early stages when he picks such a losing lane.
Absolutely brutal. Perkz, though, potentially moving up to contest the Scuttle Crab, but it will get taken by Wei just the last possible second. And Cajal, we were ready to talk about Fudge in this matchup because he's a player that has developed so much across the year and even so much in the context of this tournament, looking at his first few days' performance versus obviously that fantastic Lee Sin game that we'll keep talking about. But this game, we don't really get to talk a lot about Fudge. Losing gracefully is the name of the game. Survival is the name of the game. And this isn't even a discussion about quality of players going toe-to-toe, Xiaohu versus Fudge, but just champions picked. Malphite on survival duty.
Yeah, I mean, his Lee Sin was fantastic against that one. 10 and 3 on that Lee Sin. Such clutch fights, really good mechanics in them. But then the last two games against DFM and Infinity, he was playing the Sion. Again, now in round 2, he's playing the Malphite. It's almost like a weak side area for Cloud9. And I think that makes sense when you have such a winning bot lane in the lanes phase especially, right? Sven and Vulcan have been so powerful in lane, getting 2v2 kills on teams like that one as well. So Blabber making sure he's pathing towards the bot side, playing with Vulcan, taking away the Raptor respawn from Wei. Good identification there, knowing that he wasted the time on the top dive. Got himself first blood, yes, but that does mean he lost a little bit of time after clearing his top camps and basing and coming bot side. So good identification there from Blabber to take away that camp.
And Blabber, of course, not Blabber, rather Vulcan fishing for the gank in the mid lane. He will not find it. Keep in mind, we've already seen one game from RNG. Their bot side was an explosive center of action. This time around, it is a little bit quieter in the early game. Tristana, of course, notoriously very, very oppressive.
This top side of the map is really struggling for Cloud9. Blabber's respawn camps are top sides. When you run there now, Fudge is only level 4. He should level up on this wave, but RNG might want to pull the trigger again. Fudge has flash to look for an outplay, though.
Keep in mind, no TP here, though. He's taking so much damage. They're going to drop the aggro. They can just re-dive. There's Morgana on the way, though. This could be massive. Blabber stepping in.
He is level 5, and he has the Predator popped. Oh, Binding just about misses, but Blabber's here now. So Fudge should be safe on this top side of the map, and I think this chunk out was really important. Yes, they didn't get the dive, but Fudge lost his potions and lost all his health with no TP, so he might need Blabber after Krugs to push out the next wave with him. Otherwise, he's going to be under so much pressure if Blabber paths towards the bot side.
Holding on as best he can, 42 CS to 24. Fudge is trying to hit level 6. Xiaohu doing as expected, absolutely dominating this matchup. Has the support coming in necessary for Wei. It's a clean performance around the top side for RNG. As long as they don't get blown up by that Malphite ult, they're feeling good about this early game.
Yeah, the key thing is don't make mistakes when you're playing Lucian Udyr into a Malphite, right? Chunk him out, maybe look for a dive here and there, and then back off. Don't risk it as we see such a big exchange in bot side.
Body slam, Vulcan ignited, ticking down. A good body block comes in from Sven just to make sure that they can't fully mark out there with the plasma. They will back away.
Yeah, heavy trading on the spots of the map. You expect that in a Gragas Rel kind of matchup. But Fudge, again, had to base. Look at the minimap. He just lost a huge wave on the top side of the map again. Xiaohu up so much XP and gold. He needs to keep punishing this lane, though. But the thing is with Lucian, if you misstep once in a fight, you get hit by a Malphite ult, maybe even a Binding, you're just one-shotted, right? RNG's comp lacking a lot of frontline. Only really the Udyr and the Gragas can be that frontline for them against things like Tristana, Lee Sin. So C9 have a lot of team fight to work with. As Wei goes in and takes the Raptors.
And while I do think it's fair for us to give Fudge the benefit of the doubt as he gets closer and closer, now ticking over to level 6, hopefully able to survive a bit better in this lane, we have to respect. Because Xiaohu, yes, the Gragas wasn't the flawless mechanical performance I think a lot of people would have hoped for, but the Lucian, this is his bread and butter. If anyone is not going to make any mistakes on the Lucian on the top side of the map, it is Xiaohu. This man notorious domestically for this pick. Incredibly, incredibly oppressive in mid-game skirmishes and fights. And while Fudge, you can see a little bit more comfortable now in the laning phase. He gets to leave, you know, his tower for a few moments. Xiaohu is still a guy that is going to be a massive threat in these skirmishes and fights.
Yeah, but this is the part of the game where Malphite has a lot of armor to work with, and he has the level 6, so he can actually start to push in waves and threaten some kind of all-in if Xiaohu lacks vision. That's why you see the minimap. Fudge has a pink in Tribush. That means Xiaohu has no vision up until really the river, you would argue. Doesn't have any wards right now, but Fudge doesn't know that. That means Xiaohu does have to play safe here and there because the vision. Perkz goes in though.
Going in, instant combo. Everyone is just landing everything that they need to. Cryin gets a shockwave, but it's too little too late. That's a quick kill for Cloud9.
Huge pickup for Perkz in this matchup. Lee Sin getting an early kill like that's so important, and it executed perfectly. Ward jumps forwards, kick flashes into Vulcan and Blabber. The chain CC was layered perfectly. Cryin will TP back in here, you'd argue, so he won't lose too much in terms of creeps. But that kill is just big for the Lee Sin. Now he should be able to get a free base. Has the TP if he wants to match a play. And that's going to be a really important play to get this Lee Sin rolling, as we see an exchange on the bot side again. Ming keeping this bot push, and because Vulcan went towards mid, that means C9's bot lane had to give up the push a little bit.
And this is the second time, or third time rather, that we've seen Vulcan roaming into the mid lane. You can see Sven is paying the price a little bit when it comes to CS. It's a similar story topside, where Fudge is falling very far behind. That is what's giving RNG their 1K gold lead. But otherwise, in the mid lane, things looking pretty solid with that first kill, as well as a pretty big CS lead for Blabber in the jungle. Now that gold lead, though, for the side of RNG is only going to grow when Udyr does get this first Herald.
Yep, Herald started up. Cryin didn't actually use the TP, he just ran back to mid. He lost a couple of creeps in the death timer, so not really worth TPing for a couple of creeps. Does end up pushing out though, because Perkz base later on after he was clearing wards. And because of the top pressure, because mid wave's pushed into tower, this Herald's pretty much free. Wei picks that one up. And Cryin still has his flash, so regardless of that play, he still has his flash. So if C9 do look for a similar sort of play, he can react in time now that Perkz can't land the kick flash. But Herald picked up, you expect that to go towards the top side of the map, crack open that tower, let Xiaohu start to roam towards mid, and then just translate pressure across the map from this Lucian, who's hard winging his lane right now with the jungle attention. Blabber is ahead individually in terms of camps, in terms of levels, but that's because Wei is sacrificing himself for these neutrals and for these top plays.
Perkz fishing for a Q, will find it. Waiting for the shield to fall away before he reactivates. Opts not to. We'll back away here as Blabber just continues to try to build as big of a lead as he can. It looks like Mountain Drake not going to be the focus whatsoever. Doesn't have mid priority, is just now getting bot prio, so doesn't want to risk anything. That said, Udyr now moving down to the bottom side. Top lane remaining an island for now, but pings into bottom lane. Level 6s for both the Cloud9 bot lane players, potentially ready to make a play, but Ming will spot out this dragon, gives free reign for Wei to respond however he deems fit. And for now, it is contesting Perkz around this vision, as the dragon will offer a nice little taxi out to safety.
Yeah, Perkz has the mid push, C9 have the bot push, that means it's a free dragon, so good pick up there from Cloud9 to get the Dragon Soul rolling. It's going to be a Cloud Drake next, so a very powerful soul coming in here. Infernal or Ocean, either team picking that up could be huge, but because the dragon dies, RNG instantly pushing mid wave. Let's cross map top quickly because Blabber has to clear out his bot camps, and there's Fudge. Wei's looking for it, he has the Herald too, so if they want to crack this tower open, they will.
So much money going to go to the back pocket of Xiaohu very quickly here. They should be able to break this top tower, free him up to start to move across the map. He is very much on his way to his first mythic item. It's going to be good. Udyr backing away. Just make sure all that money going to the back pocket of Xiaohu. Will share it naturally, but still good to have all that extra gold at this point in the game. Fudge going to hold on again as best he can, but Xiaohu now freed up. If he wants to roam, he has the freedom to do so.
Yeah, really good reaction on the cross map there. Maybe they can make the Herald crash again and just keep pressuring this top side, and that's what we'll see. We'll see as the culling comes across, just pressure, 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 2 levels up. Maybe they can go for 2 towers here. They just spotted Blabber on the bot side of the map with a question mark ping. If RNG's bot lane gets dove here, that could be dangerous though.
But C9 have to go. They're just going to give up this tower if they do not commit to this play. They're trying to force the cross map. Now, Perkz is on the way down to the bottom side. Looks like he will just take the Scryer's Bloom and back off, but RNG just slowly but surely walking this one in. It does mean sacrificing the Krug camp on the bottom side in favor of Blabber, but very little else. Overall, RNG pulling very far ahead on that one.
Yeah, C9, if they want to commit to that dive, they have to double TP in, and then RNG can respond, and it's a 4v5 tower dive in 10 minutes. Really risky to go for, so they opt out of it. RNG's bot lane did clear out the wave beforehand anyway, so there wasn't much of a window to go for it. And you can just see this top lead. Xiaohu 2,000 gold ahead, almost double the CS. And the matchup, I mean, this is not really Fudge's fault. He's playing weak side, and the matchup's very difficult. Blabber's going in the mid, though.
Going in. Predator just flashed away from ult's not going to connect. Kick in, follow-up kick for the go through. Black Shield in as well, but Cryan's still alive. The pullback will not work because of the Black Shield, but Perkz taken very low.
Small misplay there from Perkz. I think his E didn't connect because he kicked too fast, and the binding also missed. The ult from Blabber was flashed away from. That's just a mechanical misplay from the mid jungle there from C9. I think Cryin should have died as Xiaohu has pushed in top and has moved towards mid, and now they're going to pressure this mid tower. Cryin TPing back. Perkz might have to do the same.
Dash, Gale Force, they can start to break down this mid-tier tower. They're trying to get as much out of plate gold as they can from the side of RNG, and while Cloud9 were hoping and fishing for some of these plays, 1-to-1 the kill score, but almost 3k gold in the favor of RNG on the back of a fantastic early game.
Yeah, and that early game pressure on the top side translates to mid. That's what we talked about. Once the Lucian is cracked open top tower, even top tier 2, he can push in the lane and then move towards mid. If Fudge wants to respond, he has to TP. Otherwise, he pushes out top, and Xiaohu can just start pressuring mid instead of being top. They pressure mid, they get a plating, they force Perkz to back off, and now Xiaohu can run back top, catch this wave for free, and he loses nothing off the end of it.
And right now, I mean, RNG is sitting very cozy. Cloud9 need to find an opportunity to use this Malphite. They invested, they sacrificed on the top side rather, just to get this kind of massive teamfight ultimate, but so far Fudge has had no opportunities whatsoever to use it. And the C9 bottom lane, normally a point that we expect to be very strong in the laning phase, has just been going even, which is not enough for what Cloud9 need to be getting done.
Yeah, especially when Blabber's not really found too many plays on the map, barring that mid gank. He's been hovering around the bot side, and he has got a level and a camp lead, but Wei sacrificed that to get Xiaohu ahead. Now, C9 can make a pick on Xiaohu if they layer the CC, but Xiaohu, look how he's playing. He's just doing the crab, he's just playing safe, waiting for the waves to come onto his side of the map, and not stepping too far past the river, and making sure he doesn't get caught out again. Moving from top to mid, he doesn't have to be on top wave. Right now he can pressure Perkz away, and that means if you go from top to mid and pressure out Perkz, now all of a sudden, because you have mid pressure, bot lane can start to get the push. So RNG can control all 3 lanes, with Xiaohu just moving in between top and mid.
It's so scary as well, because you can see Perkz and C9 wanted to make a lot of plays around mid. That was already difficult to do, but with Blabber so far ahead, with Perkz doing well in the individual matchup, he felt comfortable to do so. But now it's never a 2-on-2, it's a 3v2, when Xiaohu always has top pressure, is always able to roam down first and threaten a potential counter on the play.
Yeah, Xiaohu just goes back towards top and catches the wave, so it's almost like a seesaw effect of Lucian pushing in waves and moving mid, and C9 having to back off when he does have that top pressure. And Xiaohu obviously roll swapping from mid to top at the start of the year in his first split and winning the LPL in that first split. There's been a lot of roll swaps in the history of League of Legends. Ambition. Hang on, there's a TP. Fudge is coming in behind the bot lane of RNG. Maybe RNG want to respond with double TP of their own.
Ready, looking to force something. Ming the flash in, unstoppable. Gala, quick flash out to safety. Now they will sacrifice Ming. 1 kill over to the side of C9. Instantly, Xiaohu starts to push on top, but that's a start for Cloud9.
Yeah, and Ming could have flashed that. Gala did. Ming didn't. Maybe he thought he could have lived in that exchange and then flashed away afterwards. But Fudge TP's in, flash ult. He wants to make something happen, and now he's going to base and catch the top wave. But there's been, like I was saying, a lot of roll swaps in League of Legends history. You think of Ambition, you think of Core JJ. They won Worlds after roll swapping. Perkz goes to Worlds Finals after roll swapping, and now Xiaohu does it himself. We'll see how far he can get on the international stage. Yet to drop a game with RNG at this tournament so far. Good play from C9. As Wei finds Perkz. I don't think they're going to get much done here.
Smite it out. Perkz leap out to safety. Good dodge with the ward hop on the shockwave. But it's, I think, an excellent call-out, Kadril, because you do have 2 former MSI champions going toe-to-toe in Xiaohu and Perkz. And, of course, very different lanes, but you can see Perkz going even against Cryan. Xiaohu set up to win his lane and is doing so handedly. 50 CS lead is massive.
And if there's anyone who's going to respond on the side lane against this Lucian, it's Perkz on this Lee Sin. Almost exactly the same in terms of golden XP right now, barring the platings that Xiaohu got for that small lead. And RNG are going to start up this Drake. Fudge did make a great play, but now he has no TP, so if he ever wants to join a play, C9 need to make sure they give him vision to push out to move towards mid. Otherwise, if he's stuck under his tier 3, he's never going to be able to join a play that Xiaohu can force. But C9 being topside, RNG want a cross map, push in bot side, take away the blue, start hitting the bot tower, and C9 need to do something in response, maybe start up the Herald and pressure top tower of their own.
They're just taking so many camps. They're taking so many resources away from Cloud9. Right now, Cloud9 fishing, maybe looking for a play that they can get back. But for Perkz, it's hard to approach. If he's not committed to the all-in, he can't go for these short trades up against Cryan and Xiaohu. He'll just get one shot.
Yeah, it looks like RNG are just going to get a free bot tier 1 here. C9 moving towards the top side to help Fudge push out and contest some vision around the top side of the map. Nets RNG a tower, but C9 are hanging around this mid wave. Xiaohu has flash to work with, and the shockwave's about to come off cooldown.
From COJ, finally the Perkz vs RNG rematch. Very excited for this one. We are too. Sadly, Vulcan not able to find the play to get things started. Cloud9 cannot find a single opportunity to get these plays kicked off. Meanwhile, on the backside, Sven leaping out to safety. Heal will take him just barely above the death threshold. Has the safeguard as well, but RNG just continue to win out on these small exchanges. It's a 3K gold lead and pressure across the map. They are sacking a top lane wave, but overall, RNG just feel like they're coming out on top each and every time.
Yeah, C9 just trying to engage straight up 4v4 in that mid lane there. I think they were just scared of Wei looking for a dive, so they thought they'd pull the trigger first. And you're going to see the cross map difference. Look, Gala gets bot tower because the AD. Hang on, Blabber just dies to Xiaohu. Huge pickup with the Gale Force cooling. The damage from this Lucian is nuts.
I was not ready for that, Kadril.
Yeah, you might have blinked, you would have missed it. So much damage from this Gale Force Lucian with the E-culling, with the Gale Force follow-up. Blabber wasn't expecting it either. He gets taken down, and top tier 1 still alive for RNG. Fudge was hitting it for about 30 seconds, but because he's Malphite, he can't take it down, whereas Gala took bot tier 1, and now he's on the top side of the map. So 4 towers to 0 for RNG right now.
And we talked about in the early game how Wei was sacrificing some of the time that he could have been spending farming camps. He put himself at a deficit to get Xiaohu ahead, and it has absolutely paid off. Yes, it is only 1-0-1 for Xiaohu, but that kill in mid lane, the pressure across the map, Wei sacrificing himself to get the team ahead has worked out super, super well for the side of RNG, whereas Blabber's individual lead has not amounted to a lot.
Yeah, it hasn't amounted to a lot, but if he passed towards the weak side of the map, it would have been tricky for him to do anything at all, but Wei Almost found Perkz there. Gala's soloing out the Herald while they defend the tier 1 bot tower. So RNG denying the cross map from C9 and making a play of their own.
And it's important to remember when we look back, especially in this game where it's a bit slower, but it is certainly RNG dominated, how incredibly dominant RNG have been over the course of this tournament. Now, they were 8-0 in their group stage. They're now 1-0 in the Rumble, looking to make it 2-0, potentially undefeated. And as you look back on plays like this is the kind of individual flexing we saw from them in group stage. I didn't think we were going to see the same amount here in Rumble, but off to a certainly great start against Cloud9.
Yeah, fantastic start. Unlocking Xiaohu has been the key here for RNG, moving around the map to secure them all these towers and lane pressure. The Herald used onto the mid tier 2. C9 don't have the Rel flash to respond, but Perkz is behind them.
Perkz on the backside, but if he burns too many cooldowns on Wei, certainly not going to work out for him. Wei just very strong individually as well. Conqueror now finally proc. The kick is there. Is Perkz going to go for it? Can hold on to it for now. Binding does connect. Fudge off on the side.
And I think their target is just Cryin. Cryine's the only one without flash. Gallus is coming up really soon, so they had a small window there, but RNG just get the mid tier 2 and they back off. C9 can't really respond. They're just going to push out the wave and catch side lanes, and RNG get time to reset. Just over a 4,000 gold lead here at 18 minutes in.
And I think it's just such a hard game for Cloud9 to play out, Kagel. We look at the wave clear on the side of the RNG. They've got the Lucian Culling, they've got the Orianna, the traditional control mage. You've got a Lee Sin, you've got a Malphite on the opposite side. So when RNG get an advantage, when they have a man advantage or a pressure advantage, it's so easy for them to sustain it. I mean, Morgana from Blabber does balance some of that out if you're willing to give her all of that farm, but still very difficult, I think, for Cloud9 to play this game until they get a few more items under their belt and can find a full-on 5v5 against RNG.
Yeah, that's the key thing. If Malphite gets a bit tankier and Sven can find some items, then maybe there's a world where they can get a good engage and then just snowball from there onwards in the fight itself. But RNG just need to play well around catching waves. Play through Xiaohu. You can see Ming's moving towards the bot side of the map to give Xiaohu vision, which allows him to push out bot and again move towards mid and help his team. That's how RNG are playing the game. And C9 can't really find the way to crack it. You have two options. You either catch out Xiaohu, which is hard because he has vision. Wait,
body slam instantly. It's a clean combo. There's no room for Sven to maneuver. That was flawless coming in, but meanwhile on the top side, Fudge now has to ult out to safety, but Wei, he's just too fast. Perkz in the midst of everything. They've got Vulcan just a little bit behind. Perkz, maybe he can get the kick flash back. He gets it, it's flawless, but no, the lockup is there. Cryin is still alive. Going for the kick again, but Wei is there for the body block. Xiaohu on the backside. This is disaster. Cryin is still alive. The mid laner for RNG will finally go down, but at the cost of the entire C9 lineup.
4 for 2 in favor of RNG. C9 tried to find the re-engage with the kick, but there just wasn't enough follow-up. Luckily for C9, the Baron's not up yet, so they won't lose a neutral off of this, but disaster strikes.
Can't believe Perkz the only man to survive in that exchange, and that is brutal. That was the desperate attempt from Cloud9 to try to get something back, but a massive gold deficit now, 6K stacked in the favor of RNG. Cloud9 have not gotten a chance to utilize their composition whatsoever. RNG are tearing them apart.
Yeah, they made a play mid, Ming flashing onto Sven, catching him out, taking him down, and then they move towards the top side after that play. Let's take a look at this one again, because Sven actually has flash, but I think Ming just catches him off guard in this new Axe Effect replay. The E flash into the ult. Gala has ult to follow up from that engage as well, and then from that point onwards, because they're forcing topside, Ming and Gala are sprinting towards the top side of the map, so C9 have a small window to fight it. This kick flash was wonderful, but into who? Fudge is stunned, no ultimate, no Q, and from there everyone's collapsing, and then they start to lose the fight. RNG collapse, C9 have no escape.
Luckily for them, Perkz makes it out. There's some exchanges that are close, but overall, they're still coming in on top. Perkz in no man's land. Absolute desperation. Can try to go Stridebreaker forward, but there's just too much damage here. He doesn't have enough survivability to deal with that. Fudge now going in onto Xiaohu. Rest of the team not there. Looks like Vulcan used the E a little bit early, but Fudge, he might just be unstoppable in this exchange. Is he going to go for the dive here? He's going to tank so much damage. Black Shield as well. Xiaohu can't get to safety. E damage. Shutdown comes in from the pool. That's something back for the side of Cloud9.
But look at the other side of the map. RNG are burning down this Baron, and we talked about the 1-4. Yes, they pick off Xiaohu, but at what cost? Perkz died, and you lost the Baron. And you can see how the Malphite pick works into Lucian. On side lane, you can ult him. Someone collapses. He's just pretty much dead. There's no escape for him. Xiaohu also losing his flash in that exchange, but RNG on the cross map, that's a Baron pickup. And the only thing C9 get is a kill. They don't even get this bot tier 1. They get some deep vision on the bot side of the map. What if C9 got this game? 5 kills and a tower. RNG have 5 kills, 5 towers, 7 kills, and a Baron.
Yeah, Red Bull Baron power play. This is absolutely RNG dominance from start to finish. Cloud9 had the tools in the early game, but could not find the successful plays. RNG setting up on the top side. Those leads have now been snowballed across the entire map. Kai'Sa was sitting pretty, sitting quiet on the bottom side of the map, but again, we have Gala 3-0-1 on this Kai'Sa. This man is unstoppable once he gets ahead.
Yeah, and you said it correctly there, Dracos, the snowball effect. Every single kill for RNG is just snowballed into a neutral, into a tower, whereas C9 haven't really found their footing in transferring these kills into anything. But now, RNG with the Baron, walking up to Sven. He has the flash though, has to flash away. And I think if Gala was in range, he could have popped the Killer Instinct there and maybe finished Sven off, but he wasn't in range. No Dragon for 3 minutes. And you can see RNG just setting up on bot wave, Waze pushing that out. They collapse 4-man, and they're going to focus on this bot tier 2.
And with a gold deficit like this, you are all in on out-executing RNG in a fight, and that is no easy task. Now Kadro, while RNG start to push this advantage while they push in and look to grow this gold lead by taking down some of these easy tier 2s, I think it's important to look back because we were doing some of the research, we were looking into it, of course, all-time head-to-head. Maybe not something that the players on the stage think about, but something that we, as international pundits, do.
There's a TP coming in behind, though. Perkz is behind them.
We'll hold that thought. It's 7-7. Perkz looking to make it 8-7. Perkz using TP here. What does it get? It buys a little bit of space. It wastes a little bit of time on the Baron. If he escapes, it's not too bad of a deal overall, but still a minute and 30 seconds left. Spotted out. Ming going to go in with the body slam. Here comes the Bear, stands to follow. Perkz going to try to make it out to safety. Black shield there. He can try to leap in. Rest of the team now on the retreat. Gala marked up. Perkz cannot follow. Fudge off to the side. Where's the Malphite ult going to go? Vulcan fishing, but they burn some major cooldowns. Fudge needs to hold on to the ult. Where's the opportunity? Where can Fudge go? But still, Perkz can't go in. Perkz can't follow. Sven got the kill, though. That might be enough. Xiaohu off to the side. The rest of C9 now backing up, wasting time on the Baron. Good sidestep on the binding. Xiaohu's still okay. Xiaohu now set to rip through this team, sped up by the dissonance, chasing down Sven, looking for a kill. C9 can back off, but it will mean giving up their inhib tower. RNG full force down the mid lane.
C9 are trying to force because they want to slow the Baron down, but now RNG have a wave. 40 seconds of Baron buff left. Fudge still has ultimate, and Cryin and Gala both use their flash in that fight. So if C9 can heal up, they might be able to find a re-engage here. RNG needs to be careful.
Perkz fishing. If he finds a good kick, maybe that can be it, but he doesn't even have the kick. Fudge now moving in. They want to shut down Gala. That's going to be big. 1,000 gold into the back pocket of C9. It goes over to Fudge as well. The Malphite only going to get stronger. It does mean giving up a tower, but they will not give up more of the base, only the inhibitor going down.
I wonder if RNG lost track of the Malphite ultimate in that fight. Maybe they thought it was down because they were stepping up way too far in Fudge's face. C9 go to base, they heal up, they layer the CC. The 1,000 gold shutdown does go to Fudge, unfortunately, though. He will get a little bit more tanky, but if that went across to Sven, Blabber, or Perkz, that could have helped you out a little bit more. It's not the end of the world, though. Gala's been shut down. RNG's carries have lost flash, so C9 have found room to breathe. They've only lost a mid-inhibitor on this Baron buff.
And there's no doubt in my mind that right now RNG very much are still in control of this game. 5k gold lead, the Lucian, every single carry on this team sitting pretty. But the later we get, the stronger the front line will be, the harder it will be for Xiaohu to find room in these fights. As we see Perkz, a man on a mission. It looks a little questionable at first, but they turned it into a W overall.
Yeah, it's odd, and I think he does it because there's a mid wave and a bot wave, and he knows if he just waits under his tower, the siege will come in, and C9 will start to lose towers when RNG force it. So they TP in. Perkz does get away. Vulcan's engage gets both flashed out of the carries, and although he dies, he trades his life away, and now it's a 4v4, and because C9's only real re-engage is the Malphite ultimate, RNG can start to walk forwards because they're spread out, and now C9 split up, so Xiaohu can chunk them out. It's only when RNG step up way too far that they actually get caught, and they can chase down Sven. C9 are split up, but once they regroup, re-heal, they found Gala, and they got the shutdown. So now C9 want to stay as a unit. They want to stay as a 5-man death pool because there's no flash on these carries.
And we saw in the last fight what happens when they split. If Xiaohu's allowed into the back line, he will shred one of these carries. That said, RNG pushing down. C9 a little bit split in the moment. They see their opportunity. Ming goes in with the barrel, goes wide. That's Coling across the backside. They've locked up the enemy support. Ming chain CC'd, but can they finish the job? He's ticking, he's burning. The reset will come in for Sven. Now the rest of the fight can kick off. It's way in the midst of everybody. It's way burning down, but it's Cryin on the backside. But Fudge says, not today. I might not be the MVP in this one, but you are not taking my 80 carry. Xiaohu, another name on the list. White flag from Perkz. That is pure confidence in the fight from C9.
C9 aced him 5 for 0, Dracos. The flashes on the carries weren't there, and the engage from Ming was blundered. He missed the cask on the E-flash engage. C9 turned the fight. Perkz, MVP on the backline, shuts down Cryin, and Sven comes up huge. Dragon for C9. That's 2 dragons apiece, and C9 have found their way back into this game. You can see the team fight comp from C9 coming into effect.
Kadro, I did not think that Cloud9 could weather this storm, but they have. And as we take a look back at this replay, appreciate the fantastic play coming out from Cloud9.
Yeah, watch Ming here. E-flash, but his ult goes way too wide. If that hits onto Perkz or Blabber, maybe they can find the engage. And now RNG, lots of single target damage, all split up. C9 staying as this death pool, and Fudge still has ultimate. The shockwave was good, but keep your eyes on Sven. Jumps out of the fight. The kick from Perkz finishes off. He takes down Cryin as well. Fudge peels for Sven. Really good team fight execution from C9 with this composition.
The absolute confidence from C9 in the fight. Fudge holding the Malphite ult for so long, using it as a defensive tool to keep his carry line alive instead of just going in, I think was fantastic from Cloud9.
Yeah, peeling for Sven, and look at the damage Perkz did in that fight. 4.1k, most damage in the fight on this Lee Sin. Clutching it out for his team alongside Fudge and Sven there. And Cloud9 definitely back in this game. Now you can see the idea behind the composition. Although you had losing lanes, the team fight, the straight up 5v5 is so favored for Cloud9. RNG, I don't think they can afford to take on a fight like that. Look at the items onto C9. Sven, 3 items. Perkz has the Sterak's and the BF sword. Fudge is level 15 with so much armor, so they have to be careful when they go for these 5v5s, and that's why you can see them respecting C9 with the push, and they need to play over side lanes a little bit more, but that's difficult when things like the Baron are up.
And the gold now close enough that it feels just about inconsequential. It's all going to come down to execution. Who can play better around the map? Who can play better in the fights? Xiaohu and Wei not too scared here, continuing to step forward. Individually, Xiaohu very, very strong, but hard for him to find backline access with Fudge and Vulcan standing as frontliners.
2 things RNG are lacking, engage and frontline. 2 things C9 have, engage and frontline. That's the thing RNG are lacking, but they have so much damage. So if C9 go way too deep in an engage, they can turn the fight with the culling onto Sven, and then one from there, if they get your backline, it's lights out for Cloud9. So they need to be careful, they need to pick their fight smart, but both carries of RNG have flashes now.
And the later we get, the higher the stakes get in these fights. 3-1-6 for Perkz, 4-1-2 for Sven. The carry duo certainly coming in clutch across these fights. It was a quiet early game. We called it out. We were concerned even for Cloud9 after they really struggled to find any big advantages. After the skirmishes for RNG, after the Baron for RNG, the game felt over. But Cloud9 found a way back in. They found their fight, found a bit of hope here. 2K. Fudge is going to clear out this wave. Eyes on the Baron, though. As Fudge shows here, he's going to have to be ready to commit that TP if RNG want to threaten. Single mistake at this stage of the game could cost you.
Yeah, the gold lead at this point is almost irrelevant. Everyone's almost the same level as well. There's no huge discrepancies in the gold, barring this Lucian still, but it doesn't matter because Fudge is a Malphite and he is frontline and he has his tank items ready. C9 can push out these waves, and Xiaohu not having TP over the last couple of minutes has mean that RNG can't really play over sides as much as they'd want to, but they've still got control over the Baron. 28 minutes into the game, Dragon spawning in 2 minutes. All eyes are going to be still on this Baron. C9, Fudge pushed out bot, let's group up. Maybe we can start to contest some vision.
Pressure now. Single pick here from Fudge. If he burns the ult too aggressively, if Gala gets out, it could cost him in a team fight. But Gala looking like a juicy target. 4-2-1 now, 3.5 items. Definitely someone you want to take out of this fight.
But look at the adaptation from RNG. We're not going to go head on in mid and try to contest his mid waves. Xiaohu pushing in bot. C9 will have to respond soon. Either base and catch bot wave or force the Baron. They have 2 options here. Looks like they're going to start up the Baron. Xiaohu's going to have to TP in soon. It is up in the next couple of seconds. But RNG need to stop this. Wei has flash to look for a steal, but they're losing their in-hit bot, so they're on a timer here.
Betting it all. All eyes on Wei from the side of RNG, all eyes on Blabber from the side of C9. Can he come in clutch? Can he take this objective away? There's a Lee Sin in the pit as well. Kirk's going to kick him away. They're going to try to burn it down. They desperately want to burn it, and they are going to get it. It's the rest of RNG now pushing into the base. Can they get more? Wei trying to stop the backs. Wei going to try to interrupt, but Wei is going to go down in the meantime. The team now split. TP's now coming in. Wei's trying to cancel. Can RNG just end the game? RNG going in. They don't need to beat you in a 5v5. They'll outthink you. RNG take the game.
Phenomenal play from RNG. Even Gala was there for the backdoor, and they stopped the backs. They didn't get the Baron, but they stopped the bases long enough to get that Nexus, and that's all that matters. They were playing over side. They didn't look for the fight. They looked for the end.
Cloud9 down and out in the early to mid game. They came back with a vengeance in the late game. They found their fights, but they could not find the win. RNG making it work, collapsing on the bottom side. You saw recalls started and canceled by C9 members. They did not know what to do in that situation, but RNG went for the throat, they went for the kill, they went for the win, and they got it.
Yeah, and you would argue in that game state, it's a very difficult one when you don't have any team fight past 30 minutes. It's so hard to contest neutrals. Yes, C9 did the right play in starting up the Baron, but they couldn't base in time. RNG stopped them in their tracks, and then they just managed to end the game through bot. This is the pressure of a side laner. This is how a side laner works. You drop the ball for 1 second, he just ends the game. Gala even joining in there to help out. C9 didn't have the time to respond. Maybe Fudge should have just stayed bot and just caught another wave and then TP'd into the fight, and that's how they should have forced it. A lot of different things could have happened there, but in the end, RNG, good adaptation after getting 5-0 in that fight.
Yeah, and Xiaohu, an absolute lethal weapon. Even when the composition outscaled him, he found a way on the side lane to end the game. He made good on the commitments in the early game to build that lead for RNG, and of course, we're going to take a closer look at RNG's win after the break before Lore checks in with their top laner, Xiaohu. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back, everyone, to the State Farm Analyst Desk. Dagda, is this one of those not even close baby moments?
It's so good. It's the exact same thing that happened in our playoffs. Game 5, top esports. You see this Malphite pick up, come out against Xiaohu's Lucian, and every single time they're just like, cool, we'll just go for the end. There was an Elder Dragon on the cards for top esports. They thought, of course RNG are going to fight this. Of course Cloud9 think they're going to fight at the Baron, but it doesn't matter. They just go and take the base anyway.
I really love that you drew that connection to that specific instance, because that's how you see that it isn't so much out of the ordinary for RNG to make this move specifically. And I'd immediately like to pull it up. The Drive to Victory presented by Mercedes-Benz. RNG's backdoor to secure the win. More like a front door even, Ender.
Look, it's the worst trade deal in the history of trade deals maybe ever. Honestly, the back door is left wide open. Just watch Wei. The miracle run he goes on. He gets sent into Vulcan with the Tristana ultimate 2, interrupts 2-3 recalls on his way around. Meanwhile, you have 3 people, 2 AD carries focus firing away at the structures in the base. It was brutal.
Yeah, it was so brutal, but I have to say it was very impressive. You know, just no hesitation from Wei. Stop the backs, stop the ports, and make sure that they can complete it. Dagda, you weren't even sweating, I guess.
I mean, look, to be honest, we've kind of seen this style coming out from RNG a lot. I mean, this is the 12th victory now in a row for Xiaohu this year. He's completely undefeated on it. And when it comes through their ability to play the side lanes and just avoid what the opponent's team wants to do, RNG are next to none in the LPL. They are so smart at understanding what their compositional strengths are in terms of their opponents. And you can see it in this game. They were just like, right, well, we blundered once taking the fight against Cloud9, and we're like, let's just not do that again. So the second the Baron comes up, they're just like, cool, we're just going to move away from this. And you could see the early game pressure was already there, consistently diving in towards that top side. They knew what they wanted to do from the get-go.
They did, but Dagda, I have to play devil's advocate here. You see this goal difference at 10 minutes. It actually did not go as crazy as the game progressed, because we saw that RNG in the beginning, they were close, they were controlled, they were avoiding to pick too many fights. They were playing the macro game, getting the Herald, pushing down the towers, top rather, and bot actually. But in the mid game, they lost the plot a little bit. We need to give credit, I think, to Cloud9 for getting back in that game and biding their time with the Malphite.
Yeah, C9 had a couple of really great fights, and all credit to Fudge in particular, too. I thought, obviously, the Malphite is going to get super punished in lane. You never expect to walk out of that even close to CS with the Lucian, especially with your jungler not playing towards your side of the map. That's fine. Like, his ultimates in fights, when Gala was trying to dive into the backline and get the 1v1s on Sven, he's like, no, I'm going to knock up that Kai'Sa, finding some very critical moments. C9 got to a point where their Tristana was strong enough with 3 items that I think they were going to win the majority of fights that they ran into. Their front line, their engage was just stronger on paper, but unfortunately, RNG were able to play towards the side lane and not even tempt them with a 5v5.
And then is, of course, where I have to ask you, Dagda, is this par for the course of what we've seen from RNG domestically this split? The fact that, yes, sometimes they know where their weaknesses are, and if they are fighting versus a strong team fighting comp, they will take some losses, but they always have the big picture in mind, because to me it looks like that's a pretty risky ending to the game, but that could just be me.
Yeah, it's definitely a kind of a high risk, high reward play style, right? But they've been able to pull it off a couple times now. So I'm kind of looking at the loaded dice in this situation, where I think these guys are so damn good at playing this style. And it's like, yes, we've seen them play against Damwon through this bottom lane, but this has been their bread and butter. It's been the Jaces, it's been the Lucians, it's been the Nars, it's these ranged champions that can try and put pressure on these side lanes. Now, usually when you've got something like a Gnar, you can go towards the team fights, but when it's a Jace, when it's a Lucian, this is what they love to do. And you can even see just how strong Xiaohu is on this Lucian pick. It didn't matter that they were just like, oh, well, you know, we're not really going to have the CC. Xiaohu just goes and kills you anyway with the Gale Force. So I think, honestly, coming into this, I wouldn't be surprised to see more of this style from RNG. Very slow, playing through the side lanes, avoiding what their opponents want to do, if you are going to give them these picks like the Lucian.
I'd love to talk a bit more about Cloud9 as well, but we'll do that later when they go up against the Mad Lions. Now, though, for more on RNG's win, we're going to check in with Laura and their top laner.
Xiaohu, thank you so much for joining me after this amazing game. Can you tell me about the communication actually in the last moment of the game? Because you tricked Cloud9 into thinking that Baron was a good idea, but you took the base instead.
首先恭喜你们拿下了比赛胜利嘛。先来说一下最后的这个一个关键决策好了。其实你们是让 C9去打大龙，然后你们去偷掉这个水晶嘛。当时这样个决策是怎么样子的呢？
绿云在前2波团中的失利，就是导致了我们后边正面团很难打嘛。然后对面我去带线的时候，因为我的 TP 还差一点时间，这一步应该也是在对面的计算之内的，所以他们也会很快的开大龙。对，然后我们就提前想好了要去偷家。
So before Cloud9 was going to the Baron, we didn't perform really well before that team fight. So we had some mistakes before that, and after that, I thought that our enemy team calculated my teleport time, so they knew that I couldn't be with my teammates the very moment. If they were to have a team fight around the Baron pit. So I was pushing the lanes on the bot lane, and that was kind of calculated, and hopefully I'm very happy that it works.
All right, yeah, timing Summoner Spell, that's something that players should do, obviously. But let's talk about the draft here a bit, because what do you think about Cloud9's decision to leave Lucian open when you've been so successful on that pick? Pick Lee Sin red side first pick, and then flex the pick to grab Malphite in the end. What do you think about the draft decision?
聊一下关于他们的阵容好了，因为他们是放给了你一个非常胜率很高的英雄卢锡安嘛，然后呢是先选了盲僧，然后把他摇到了中路，最后是锁下了石头人。那对于这个阵容的选择，你是怎么样的看待的呢？
其实他们最后5楼补出的石头人，对他们整体的阵容，说实话提升蛮大的。对他们4、5的 BP 要做的比我们好。
I thought that the Malphite on the last pick for Cloud9 was actually a big buff for their composition. Their 4th and 5th pick in the pick and ban phase was actually better than us.
Yeah, they were super clever here, and they had good ideas in the draft. It was not enough, unfortunately. Now, Xiaohu, we had an interview at the beginning of the tournament. You told me that you had a lot of things to improve on. You beat Damwon Kia earlier today, so I'm wondering, how strong do you feel right now for the rest of the tournament?
之前也是跟他有过在 MSI 最初的时候有个采访嘛，然后你说感觉现在的话还有很多可以去提高的部分。那今天你也打败了 DK， 所以你觉得现在的话，整个实力来讲或者状态来讲有多强呢？
其实说实话，今天我们第1场打 DK， 我感觉2个队伍实力都没有到特别好的状态吧？对，
没了。
暂时就这些吧。
So for the first game, we played against Damwon Kia. Neither of us were on the best form, so that was how it is.
All right, well, we'll see about the rematch between these two favorites of the tournament, but for now, Xie for the interview, Xiaohu, and Iris, thank you so much for the translation, as always. And now we're going to take a small break, and we'll be back in a few minutes for PSG Talon versus Pentanet. Stay tuned.
Journey just manages to hit level 6 off the way, but no, Maple turns and burns. It's too clean.
Staying alive on an optic, the first one to die. Boss gonna be killed off next. It's Reset City for the first time in international competition. Oceania will make it past the first round.